The Assembly is now in session. Assemblymember Nazarian notices the absence of a quorum. The Sergeants-at-Arms will prepare the chamber and bring in the absent members. The clerk will call the roll.
Ashajian, Alejo, Allen, Baker, Bigelow, Bloom, Bonilla, Bonta, Bro, Brown, Burke, Calderon, Campos, Chang, Chow, Chavez, David Chu, Canson Chu, Cooley, Cooper, Dababne, Daly, Daly, Dodd, Eggman, Frazier, Gaines, Gallagher, Cristina Garcia, Eduardo Garcia, Gatto, Gibson, Gomez, Gonzalez, Gordon, Gray, Grove, Hadley, Harper, Hernandez, Holden, Irwin, Jones, Jones Sawyer, Kim, Lackey, Levine, Linder, Lopez, Lowe, Mainshine, Mathis, Mays, McCarty, Medina, Melendez, Mullen, Nazarian, Obernolte, O'Donnell, Olson, Patterson, Perea, Quirk, Brendan, Ridley Thomas, Rodriguez, Salas, Santiago, Steinorth, Stone, Thurmond, Ting, Wagner, Waldron, Weber, Wilk, Williams, Wood. Madam Speaker.
A quorum is present. We ask our guests and visitors in the rear of the chamber and in the gallery to please stand for the prayer. Members, the day's prayer will be offered by our Assembly Chaplain, Father Constantine Papadimos. Father Papadimos.
Let us pray. Lord, help us today to look for ways to show kindness and goodness to the people around us, even when they aren't kind to us. Keep us from repaying evil with evil, and instead to take the high road. For when we bless those who wrongfully use us, when we seek to do good and to show kindness, we will see it come back as blessings in our own life. Amen.
Thank you, Father. We ask our guests and visitors to remain standing and join us for the flag salute. Join Assemblymember Nazarian as he leads us in the pledge. Assemblymember Nazarian.
Colleagues, please join me in reaffirming our pledge to our great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
You may be seated. Reading of the previous day's journal.
Assembly Chamber, Sacramento, Wednesday, February 11, 2015. The Assembly met at 7 a.m. Honorable Brian Daly, Assembly Member, 1st District presiding. Chief Clerk E. Dotson-Wilson at the desk. Reading Clerk Kathleen M. Lewis.
Mr.
Reading.
Holden moves. Ms. Olson seconds that the reading of the previous day's journal be dispensed with. Presentations of petitions, there are none. Introduction and reference of bills will be deferred. Reports of committees, there are none. Messages from the governor, there are none. Messages from the Senate, there are none. Moving to motions and resolutions, the absences for the day for legislative business, Assemblymember Perea, and for personal business, Assemblymember Bonilla. Procedural motions, Mr. Holden, you are recognized for your motion, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move unanimous consent to suspend Assembly Rule 118 and allow Assembly members Dodd, Frazier, and Melendez to have guests and photographers on the floor today.
Without objection, the request is granted.
Mr. Speaker, I request unanimous consent to suspend Assembly Rule 45.5 and allow Assembly members Baker, Gaines, Lowe, Ridley Thomas, and Wood to speak on adjourned memories today.
Without objection, the request is granted. Members, moving to guest introductions. Mr. Dodd, are you ready for your guest introduction, sir? Mr. Dodd, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. It is my pleasure to introduce some of my friends and family who are in the back of the chamber. First, my first cousin, who hails from Sonora, Bill Sullivan, back here, Jr., his daughter, Ellen Marshall, her son, Quentin Marshall, and daughter, Marguerite Marshall, and their friends, Kelly Hicks, Caleb Hicks, and Noah Hicks, all hailing from Rio Linda. Now, a little bit of history about my first cousin and I, because I know some of you in the room, some of the Republicans don't really care about this, but don't really think that my Democratic credentials go far back enough. But it seems, doesn't seem, but Mr. Sullivan and I both share a great-great-grandfather, Martin Murphy, Jr., who came across the plains and over the Rockies and the Sierras and was one of the first parties who settled in California in the early 1840s, and settled in the Santa Clara Valley. His name was Martin Murphy, Jr., who just before the election and the making of the state of California was the first Democratic Central Committee chairman of the state of California. Moreover, I'm not done yet. Moreover, we do have our great-great-grandfather, Bernard Murphy, who was the mayor of the city of San Jose for 8 years and also served an illustrious career in the Assembly, which I have followed generations later, and also the Senate. So it is with great pleasure and family pride that I introduce my guest today. Thank you very much for your indulgence.
Members, please direct your attention to Ms. Melendez. Ms. Melendez also has a very special guest with us on the floor today. Ms. Melendez, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, 9 years ago today, I received the very best birthday present a woman could possibly receive, and that was the birth of my youngest son, Carlo, who is here with us today. And please, if you have a moment to come and wish him happy birthday, I would very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Members, please direct your attention to Mr. Frazier from Mr. O'Donnell's desk. Mr. Frazier, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today to honor Jacoby Shaddix, Jerry Horton, and in absence, Toby Esperance and Tony Palermo of Papa Roach, a world-class American rock band from my district in Vacaville, California. This year commemorates the 15-year anniversary of the release of their multi-platinum album, Infest, which was certified triple platinum in the United States. Peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200 chart in 2001 and sold more than 7 million copies worldwide. Papa Roach recently released their newest album, Fear, Face Everything and Rise, which will kick off their 15-year anniversary tour this month. Aside from their musical achievements, and the members of Papa Roach have been committed in their efforts to volunteer and donate to charities that promote wellness in their communities. Some of the most notable charity work includes working to fight hunger through programs like Why Hunger, contributing to the special needs community through partnerships with Run for Rare, Remind, and Run for Rare Again, working with nonprofit organizations to assist low-income, homeless communities by volunteering at shelters and working in partnership with programs like Be Change and Run It Forward, and completely rebuilding Andrews Park in Vacaville, not once, but twice after the park was burned down. Please join me in thanking Papa Roach for their dedication to serving communities in California and for their incomparable contributions they have made to the American rock fans worldwide. I introduce to you Papa Roach.
All right, members, if we could have your attention, we have business before the House today. Moving to business on the daily file. We will move to file item number 1. Members. Moving to file item number 1, that's AJR 4 by Assembly Member Dodd. The clerk will read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 4 by Assemblymember Dodd and others relative to Berryessa Snow Mountain National Monument.
Mr. Dodd, are you ready to take up your measure?
Yes, I am, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members, AJR 4 requests the President of the United States to declare the Berryessa Snow Mountain region a national monument. The Berryessa Snow Mountain region stretches from the shores of Lake Berryessa in Napa County to the flanks of Snow Mountain in portions of Lake Mendocino, Solano, and Yolo counties. This area encompasses some 350,000 acres of public lands. It is a biodiversity hotspot, providing habitat for bald eagle, black bears, mountain lions, tule elk, river otters, and others. Permanently protecting this region will ensure that animal and plant life will continue to flourish and the future generations will be allowed to enjoy this area. The region's geographical proximity to the San Francisco Bay Area and Sacramento makes it an excellent destination for outdoor recreation that is easily accessible to millions of Californians. Boating, recreation, off-road, hiking, camping are all major draws to the area that will bring people in. An economic analysis was done by the Winners Chamber of Commerce that in this particular area that showed that over $50 million in economic activity would occur from this, and this has been demonstrated time and time again in other areas just like this. AJR 4 requests the Secretary of the Interior to respect existing land uses, to respect private property in the area, and to consult local representatives. More than 200 businesses surrounding the Berryessa Snow Mountain region have endorsed this proposal, as well as leading environmental groups, nationally recognized recreation and sportsmen's groups, and all the county governments that are involved in this, 5 county supervisors that have voted to support this amendment, or this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Speaker, and I ask your aye vote. And thank you.
Members, thank you for your rapt attention on Mr. Dodd's presentation. Seeing and hearing no discussion on this item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 53, noes 20. Resolution is adopted. We will now move to announcements and adjournments in memory. Request to adjourn in memory. The following members were granted prior permission to speak on an adjournment in memory. Ms. Baker, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of adjourning in memory of Barclay Simpson, or to those of us who knew him, Bark. Mr. Simpson passed away in November at the age of 92, and he had a tremendous life and gave so much to our community. He was a World War II veteran. He was an anti-submarine patrol as well as a fighter bomber in the Pacific in World War II. He returned back to the United States, and while he was just a few credits short of Cal graduation at UC Berkeley, where I went, Bark was called upon by his very ailing father to bring back and come serve the family business before it deteriorated as the father was becoming ill. Bark turned that family business into Simpson Manufacturing Company, which became a construction material powerhouse internationally throughout the world. If you've ever heard of the Simpson tie, and if you have anything to do with construction, you know about it. The Simpson tie makes our buildings safer for earthquakes, for high winds, and for water events. So Bark and Sharon became very successful through the family business and did not become passive people in their communities. They were very active philanthropists in our area of Contra Costa County. There are many examples I can give to the good work that Bark has done. But I'd like to share with you, my dear colleagues, one in particular that is particularly unique, not only in the Bay Area, but the entire state of California. And that's BARC's role in developing the Arts Access School Time program in Contra Costa County. This is a program at our Regional Arts Center that BARC basically helped found. It's one that is very unique. It provides to Title I schools, so schools that have particularly high school lunch program participants, arts access at our local regional center through free tickets, but also busing and insurance and a teacher-designed curriculum. These are schools that have little or no arts funding at all, for families that have little or no access to arts education at all. And thanks to BARC Simpson, 30,000 students just in the Contra Costa County area have received access to this program at over 100 schools just in the last several years. I have gone to these performances and seen 800 school students watch modern ballet, not something I thought kids would be very particularly interested in. They were totally absorbed. They were able to meet with the artists. When there's a symphony performance and they get tickets to that, they're able to touch the instruments and learn from it. And so this is something where BARC has had a lasting impression on students all throughout Contra Costa County. All of us are here to make lives better and have an impact on others, and BARC did that in many ways. And the Arts Access Program is one outstanding and visionary way. And so I thank you today for our adjournment in memory of BARC Simpson. His wife, Sharon, survives him, as well as his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I thank you, members, for honoring BARC Simpson today.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Ms. Gaines, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today in adjourn of memory of Mark Hansen. Mark Hansen is a resident in Orangevale in my district. He had great success as a commercial concrete contractor that worked on some of Sacramento's greatest buildings, such as Federal Courthouse, the East End Complex, the CalPERS building, and the Citizen Hotel in downtown Sacramento. He also worked on the Mondavi Center located next to UC Davis, on the same campus as UC Davis. Mark's company worked on the repairs of the Capitol steps after they were damaged in the early 2000s. He loved to fish and travel in Lake Tahoe and Bodega Bay. He was an active member of the 356 Car Club of Northern California. He is survived by his loving wife, Julie Hansen, his son, Spencer, and his 3 daughters, Melissa, Jessica, and Kirsten. Members, please join me in adjourning in the memory of Mark Hansen. Thank you.
Mr. Lowe, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'd like to adjourn in memory of Ralph Santana, Sr., a lifelong resident of San Jose. He went on to join the U.S. Navy and was a cook aboard the USS Knox. He never left the house without wearing his Navy hat. He also loved mariachi music and frequently attended mariachi festivals in San Jose, dancing with his wife, Mary. Ralph went on to work at the Mount Pleasant School in San Jose for nearly a quarter of a century. Ralph became active in the Classified School Employees Union and was later elected president of the CSEA Mount Pleasant Chapter 463, where he served for many years. He was also very proud of being appointed for nearly 15 years to the statewide pre-retirement committee. He will be sorely missed. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. Ridley Thomas, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise to acknowledge the life of Risa Phillips, a leader in the Los Angeles area that passed on February 10th unexpectedly. She was the director of the Help Everyone Health and Wellness Centers, 6 locations throughout the 54th Assembly District, served primarily South and West Los Angeles, a part of the vital health infrastructure in an area that's considered medically underserved. She was a champion for in the Congress and in the legislature for legislation that provided for access to women's health and reproductive health care services. She had an intense work ethic and a passion for her community and will be dearly missed. For all of those who receive health care and care about quality health care in the greater Los Angeles region, it's with a heavy heart that I respectfully request that this body adjourn in memory of Risa Phillips. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Wood, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today to mark the passing of a modest and deflecting man despite his prominence, success, and wealth and influence. Henry Trioni is one of the Redwood Empire's leading figures of all time. As a mortgage broker, financier, lumberman, and vintner, he dominated the world of business in the Redwood Empire during the rapid expansion that followed World War II. He was a partner in the Oakland Raiders football team, founded Empire College, which still exists today. We have 100 law students, 650 students. He was a polo player and actually enshrined in the National Polo Hall of Fame. But he was truly at home in his community and gave back to his community in many ways. One way that I'd like to tell you about is he, in the early 70s, when a proposed housing development threatened a beautiful piece of land in Sonoma County, he spent $1 million to take this 5,000-acre piece of property to become what is now known as Annandale State Park. And in 2012, when this park was put on the park closure list, he put up $100,000 to help ensure the operation under the county's administration. He also served as chair of the State Park Foundation and chair emeritus of the same. He always put his personal interests aside for the sake of community, as noted by many of the facilities and projects that he financed in the county, including the Wells Fargo Center for the Arts. His modesty and hard work is a tribute to the fact that he never forgot his upbringing as the son of an Italian baker in Humboldt County. It is with a heavy heart that I tell you that he declined treatment when he was diagnosed with cancer in November 2014. He died at the age of 94 when he left us last week. My sincerest thoughts for the family who are gathering today to mark his passing, and I ask that we adjourn in his memory. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, please bring the names to the desk to be printed in the journal. All requests to adjourn in memory will be deemed read and printed in the journal. The session schedule is as follows. Wednesday, February 18th, check-in session. Thursday, February 19th, floor session at 9 a.m. All other items remaining will be passed and retained. Our motion shall be continued. Seeing and hearing no further business, I'm ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Holden moves. Ms. Olson seconds that this House stands adjourned until Thursday, February 19th at 9 a.m. Quorum call is lifted.